Okay? Good. So to do that, we have to look inside. Please, people have the material in front of them. Toys in front of them. Yeah, the guys have a toys tomorrow. It's finished. Mendel. On the window, there's a lot of ksubis. So bring us the ksubis. So we don't have much time. It's only 1 hour. So we have to condense a lot of material. So people prepared will be much easier. People, I think everybody prepared, right? Prepared the voices? Great. You guys prepared and show them. What's your name, by the way? Eitan. But I also want yourself. Don't think about yourself. Think about others. Good. Okay. The Mishnah, there's a Reish and a Sefer. The Reish of the Mishnah speaks about a shtar that doesn't have a kiyum. In 86, I'm missing here. Here's Gemara's. Are you with us? You get yourself a Gemara. There's no consequence. You have to have fully inside. If you are, you have to go fully, but there's no chance. And instead, it's Shia if you're not fully inside. 0 chance. What? You know what it is. You hold your cup.
I can't hear so well.
Okay, where's the microphone is far away. Okay, here's the microphone. No, it's working properly. You guys hear me? Good, I don't want it too loud that bother others. Okay, but see after the Mishnah has a Reish and a Sefer. The Reish of the Mishnah says that if you have a shtar that's on the Kohen and 80, come and say, Ksav Yodenu v'anusim k'tanim v'tzuleinos, they are believed. The Sefer says if shtar is mekuyom, they are not believed. Our first question is, why do I believe and what level they believe? That's our question. Our first question is, read it close. Echo. Okay. And a little bit louder. Put a little bit further. Don't bother others. Good. Now you can hear. Can you hear?
You're right by your ear.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you have to try. So we have a Reish and a Sefer. The question is really on the table. Why they are believed and at what level they are believed. Those are the 2 questions. Okay? Those are 2 questions. Why they are believed and how much they are believed. Those are the 2 questions. So simply, this Mishnah is a continuation of the previous Mishnah. As Rashi says, that is a Pesach of Peshihitim. The first Mishnah in the chapter talked about a Pesach of Peshihitim, right? It's kind of a migu. It's a high-level migu. As the Gemara says, according to Rashi, you don't have a problem before I speak. You don't see a problem before I speak. And therefore, you can say that that's what I meant. Look in Daf Tvov. And look in page, please, everybody look in for a second. And page, well, there's no pages here. I think it's 16, right? Page, what's going on? At 12, yeah, 15. Page 15. The Gemara says, what? This whole paper is all mixed up here. 1 second. Moga says that the reason why we believe with the Migu by the 2nd and 3rd Mishnah is because en shor shochot lefonecha. That's what the Gemara says. Where is it? It's on page 16. Rashi says that if you have the problem before, let's say the woman, Adim said that the woman, the husband says that the woman is not a virgin. You have questions on her. So that would push him to come to court. I'm reading Rashi. When he doesn't find a virginity, you have an ox slaughter in front of you, means you see a problem. He didn't find any besulim. This is page 16, 6 lines on the bottom. Not seduced him to come to court. When somebody gets married, doesn't find a besulim, hey, what's going on? Something's wrong. Right away you start thinking wrong things. She could be with another man. After I got engaged, she broke my who knows what, my connection. Even though she can answer good answer that happened before, etc. We don't say migo. The din molaska daita, maybe she didn't have in mind. Maybe she's deceiving. She said everything is okay because she was afraid to tell the truth. What is migo? I could have said something else. Who says you could have said it? Because I already caught you. You can't tell me I already caught you. I have to give me an answer. When you hear an answer, there's no migo. But when you come on your own, I don't say that you deceived me or you have aroma. So therefore, it's a good migo. That's a continuation of this Mishnah. That Mishnah talks about migo, of a migo that nobody knew the problem. I represented the problem. You listen to the end what I say. This Mishnah says the same thing. If you have a shtar which is not a kiyum, and Adim say it's okay, but it's a but. So they're the one that talk to you. They're the ones that give you the information, right? It's a little bit of a problem here. Why? Because when you see there's a besulim being gone, so he sees a problem. But if you don't see, the guy comes, listen, your father's land, and I bought it from him. You knew nothing about your father's land altogether. I came and told you a story. Father owned the land, I bought it. So there, I brought the information. Here, a shtar needs, if nobody speaks and you have a shtar, can you collect with a shtar or not? That's the question. Our Mishnah, when you have a shtar, there's no kiyum yet. What?
But the witnesses have nothing at stake here. They don't care. It's not their money. What do they care?
Good. They don't care. So therefore what? So therefore even though it needs a kiyum, but they're the ones that can bring information. So the migo is still there. That migo of could have kept silent, it's there. Okay? So the problem is on the table is that if that's the migo of the Reisha, it's only a migo I could have kept silent, so that's my strength. If I keep silent, what happens? I don't collect with the document, I don't rip the document. It just goes to be stale. No kiyum, goes back to the original position, no kiyum. So it's such a position, I don't rip the shtar, I don't collect with the shtar. So the reason of the belief we answered is a migo. And how much you believe is just not to rip the shtar, but you don't collect with the shtar. You don't collect, so you don't rip. Because the power of my migo is I could have kept quiet. And what happens if I keep quiet? I have a document that is not validated. What happens if you have a document that is not validated? You can't collect with it, but you don't rip it. You wait till maybe one day you'll find witnesses to validate that. Right, Yaakov? This is the simplicity of our Mishnah. When I read our Mishnah, this is simplicity. Unless I say no. There's a real migo, an active migo. Which active migo? Believe me that it's my handwriting and I was forced, etc. Because I could have said Parua or Mezuyaf. Now I could have kept quiet, not come. I could have said that I paid it off or it's forged. What happened if you have unnotarized document, unestablished document, and the borrower says, I paid it back, or is it forged? You can't collect.
What happens if it's verified?
And more than that, you rip the shtar or not? If the borrower says, this is Mezuyov, the rabbis believe me to say Mezuyov, you rip the shtar.
I don't know, taste the rust.
Yeah, that's a simple, you rip the shtar. Because Chacham believes me.
If it's verified, what happens?
What?
The document is verified, but then witnesses show up and say it's yours. What happens?
One second. Before that, we jump to the safe of the one narration. The second option we were presenting here is that the migu is not a migu that could have kept quiet and not verified. I could have destroyed the shtar. Believe me that this is my handwriting and I'm forced. So I could have destroyed the shtar. So I'm using the migu as the power to destroy the shtar. Therefore, when I say now, it's anusi, most I destroy the shtar and rip the shtar. Could have said pay the order back. Could have said mezuyah forgery. This migu is a migu of ripping the shtar.
The talking or the Edom talking?
What?
That would be
the witnesses talking.
Why would the witnesses say paid off?
They could have said us paid it off, yes. If witnesses come and say what's paid, it's paid. Witnesses says it's forged, it's forged. If the borrower is believed to say forged and paid off, surely witnesses say paid off or forged, you rip it. If Chacham gave the borrower, the toyen, the nitan, the same as Sugia for Parua is believed to rip the shtar, surely witnesses will say that.
No, if you time the Sugia, the person has the right to verify it. A person has the right to verify the document.
Yes. If the borrower is not telling Sugia.
If the lawyer says Sugia,
right.
You don't tear it up right away.
No, you don't pay it right away, but you have to verify it. If you don't verify it, so now you don't leave it aside. You're afraid it'll come out again. So you rip it.
So why are witnesses stronger?
No, witness is not stronger. The same as the toy.
So you're saying you don't tear up the document?
No, even when the lawyer says Mezuyah is believed.
He needs more than that.
You don't tear up the document. You give them sheets of time. You not believe it automatically. You have to verify it.
No, if he answers back, it's not Mezuyah, he has to verify it. It doesn't verify it. No, I don't think Beis will give him forever time to verify it.
After 30 days, he will tear it up.
I think. Let's open the Shulchan Aruch. Bring Shulchan Aruch. Ilchos Malve Veloy. Chelek Aleph. That's it.
Migu is always enough to believe him, to make it true what he's saying.
Migu is a built-in proof. Migu is a built-in proof. Let's see. Let's open Shulchan Aruch and find out what's halacha. What are we clarifying? What want to clarify? Because it says in the Teis HaRosh and others that when he says Nigu de Parua or Nigu de Mezuyah, you rip the shtar. So what does it mean? You rip it right away when the borrower says that, or witness says that, or you give him some time to prove it. And when do you rip it? That's what we want to clarify. Is that clear?
See, that's key. Who is verifying the document?
Well, that's right. Memvov, yes. It's Memvov and Zion. Let's see. It's Memvov. Here. Let's see. Okay. Wow, it's a long one. Whoa. What?
I don't know how to find the story.
We'll have to search.
The different section, which is about how much time you give him to find witnesses. That's
Here.
a different section.
The first halacha. If the borrower, if the lender takes out his shtar, choiv on his chaver, and he says, you owe me money, as long as it's not established, the loivi can say mezuyah. Arei nemo. What does nemo means? Believe. Yeshova estes hipoter. V'im kimu amal v'arei bebeizin arei ukeshar shtoros. I mean, give him time. He's believed, but you give the person time to make it. Amalve in kiyam amalve. How much time you give him?
Like in the do it for 30 days.
I don't know. That's what we're trying to clarify. Okay. Doesn't say how much. Doesn't stay. Kein משטר אפילו שלא בפני בעל דין. אפילו רואים בבצועה המזוהי ולא תגלו אין שומעים לו. It doesn't say in timing. It says if he's not mekuyo, he's believe. What does believe mean? You don't collect or you rip the shtar.
Sounds simple that the life should be believed. Not verifying, he's just casting doubt.
Not clear. I reish Simon pay base. That's it. Pay base is it's in another green chelik base. That's it. No, pay base is here. Ayin A starts there. No, pay base is there. There's base. Ayin A is finished here. Ayin A starts there. Toin Venita. He says, look in the beginning of pay base. That's it. What does the money mean? You rip the shtar. That's it. Maybe here. Malvesh oitzi shtar shenem mekuyo. A lender took out a document is not established. He doesn't find witnesses to establish it. He says, yes, I wrote it, but I paid it off. Neman. I feel in Kosovo Neman was in the way. When he says Poratio Mezuyov, he's believed. It means you don't collect. But it says afterwards the Malva found the 80 Mekam the Shtar. Arukashan stories. It looks like you don't tear up. So how can you make kind of his ripped already? So when we got this idea of ripping it up and all?
That's only, but if you have two witnesses, maybe change it.
Here, if the loiva says Poratio Mezuyov, so you don't collect. But if witnesses say Poratio Mezuyov, you rip it.
That's what the transaction is.
You get two more witnesses to get rid of that. Knock out the
The whole section of law, you got it's 30 days.
That's how I was looking for the timing, but I don't see here. Doesn't say how much Achaka. Doesn't say what. Doesn't give me limitation of time. Vim over Zman Rav, Ein Gil Yel Simon Lametet Sifyud. Lametet Sifyud. Let's see. Who is this guy? Gino Marshall. He says, look and pay. And Lametet, he says he deals with this. How much time? See if you would. It's very important what we do, even though I'm spending some time on this, but it's very important because it's unclear. And you show him this Marshall, you rip the shtar, that's all Marshall and all day. That's all our subject. Just a couple of days there almost says. somebody has a star, there's a psak basing. Let's say you say he has a star and I need it, and I say porati or mezuyov, there's a psak basing am neman. Now that I have a psak basing am neman, after the psak, or you owe me money, there's a psak basing. You can't say I paid it off. You delay, you had a psak that he owes you money, you delay a couple of days, and you didn't demand it, it must be paid in the back, that's why he was silent. They have to announce it to the one who's being collected from, the one who demanded from. They have to tell him, listen, there's a psak against you. If they didn't tell him, he can say, I paid it off. What happened if he forgot to tell him? They don't remember if he told him or not. They did tell him. And yes, always he believed. Comes the Ginin of Marshal. Where's the Ginin of Marshal? Here. ואין בכלל זה פסק שבא רק לראש מי הזכאי מי החייב. דרך חייבתו או חייבנו את פלויני. Has to be a psak that you owe the money, not that you're it's not zakai or chayav, just an active. Okay, I don't see here relation to that. Okay, it says simply from the Shulchan Aruch as a mashma that you don't rip the shtar. So that the answer, the chilik will be, that's only if there is let's put it back. Thank you, Shkoya. That's only if the borrower, a lender comes with a shtar and he says, you owe me money, here's a shtar. And it's not mekuyam, and the borrower says, I paid it back, or it's forged. You don't collect, he's believed you don't collect. You don't rip it because you wait, maybe the lender will come and establish it later on, and he's believed to establish later on. But here you have witnesses. Witnesses said is mezuyah of a parua. So mezuyah parua is something which means empties out the whole power of the shtar. There's not a shtar b'chal. It says forged or paid off. So here we rip, definitely rip. That will be the difference. If it's witnesses, if it's the power of witnesses. So here in the Mishnah, if it's not the power, here the witnesses are witnesses or not. So now we have to clarify. There's a rule. Once you say, you cannot change your testimony. That was Rov's question on Bahama. If you give a testimony, even in a shtar, you can't speak anymore. Right? And the only reason I believe not mitzad eidus, we don't believe from the power of a peshosa. That was the final of Bahama, right? So it's only from the peshosa, not from the power of eidus. But the first Rambam Choma that held that by shtar that the Eidus continues, so therefore they can be believed mitzad Eidus and pasal peshosa. So if they believe as Eidus, they believe rip the shtar. The question of the peshosa alone, you rip the shtar or not.
You have the problem of Russia. That's it. In the Mishnah itself, you have a problem of Russia. So if it's Russia, it's not Eidus.
The answer is like this. My chiluk is like this. When somebody says mezuyov, so then you let the lender to time to bring a proof, is it forged or not? He says, I paid off, bring a proof. But if he says, we were minor, we were forced, so what is going to bring witnesses that we're not forced? What is the mal is going to do? Bring witnesses not forced? It's on themselves. So maybe here, they're coming from the power of Migul. Believe me that we were forced, we were minor, Psuleidus. Migul, we could have done Mezuyov. And Mezuyov, you don't collect. So now you rip. Why you should rip? Just don't collect. If it's Eidus, I understand I rip. If it's not Eidus, just a Peshosa, what I should rip. So let's see now the Shita Yeshua. I can't here.
Will you excuse me to go to Rabbi Sackett?
Sure. You have another 20 seconds to go. So, the Shita Mukubetzes, let's see the Shita Mukubetzes. Brings down the Shita Yeshono and the Rosh. You have the Shita Mukubetzes? Mendy, do you have a Shita Mukubetzes? Eitan? Good. V'yesh lefarish kushyoso. He quotes Toisves, and he wants to explain Tosfos' question. So here we have two options how to read the Tosfos. דהיינו משום דעידים מחסום על השטר כמי שנכר או עדוסון. כי אין כוסו בשיטה ישונו, וזה לשוינוי, וכי תימה נמי לעל פה, אבל בשטר לא יבומר יש לו קש. ואם תימה, this is where we start, ואם תימה, מה ישנו דלו יקש אלינה מרישה דמסיס? This goes on the question of Rava. Rava has a problem. How can you say that when Eidim say Anusim Machmas the Foshas they believe to fight the star? That was on the Risha, right? They believe on the Sefer. Ene Moni Machmas Anusim Machmas Momon. But Anusim the Foshas they believe. Why they believe as came in Shikvish Chozo Magid. So he says why Rava didn't ask this question on the Risha? Why Rava doesn't have a problem with the Risha? The Ketoni as it says. If the star is not established from another star, I believe the witnesses that say it's our handwriting, but we were forced. Eidim, the time of the star is a complete Eidus. How can he go back and give him a testimony? So, only with witnesses who say nicer. The witnesses that the handwriting has been established. But when it's not established, it doesn't have the power of a complete Eidus that you cannot change. No. We look in Daf Gimel and Giti, Amud Aleph. The Gemara says there that when a shliach brings the get, he's allowed to establish the get. Say before even though there's only one, because the Gemara says really Kiyum was only the Rabbanon. Bedinu the Kiyum shtos tamei boy. Kedei shlokish means from the Torah, the star is a complete star and it's a complete eidus. The Rabbanon the Atzur Rabbanon required. In Mishum Eguna, when there's an igun, they don't want a woman to be stuck with a husband in the chutz. They don't know if he divorced or not, and she maybe never have ever the chance to be divorced. They kill the Rabbanon. The rabbis were lenient. Why the rabbis were lenient? Must be that really the star is a complete eidus. There's only a worry of the rabbis. So Mishum Eguna, when it's an igun means that the woman will be anchored and stay alone, right? So they were lenient. So really, what do we see from that Gemara? That really, in Midrabanon and Midoraisa, surely Midoraisa, even Midrabanon, the star is a complete star, complete Eidus. So there's no Choyzer Umaki, therefore he has a problem on the Reisha of the Mishnah. Why the Reisha of the Mishnah? When the star is not Mekuyam, Eidim can say, Ksav Yodeinu V'Anusim, how can talk? There's no power of Eidus. And we see from the Gemara in Gitin, that the Eidus of the Shah is a complete Eidus. Even in the Rabbanon, there's only a worry. That's why the rabbis were lenient by Iguna of Get. But in essence, the star is what? Is a complete star, complete Eidus. How can they believe in Eidus? What do you mean? Who says they believe in Eidus? Rashi said that the Reish is what? The Peshosa. Look in Rashi. Rashi says, V'reisha, you have Rashi in the beginning of the Gemara, goes on Rambam Chol, so in the end, the last two lines says, V'reisha, Ta'ima Mishum HaPeshosa Peshitim. He says clearly that Rambam Chol says the Sefer, Anusim Machmas Momon, the Al, Mat Navosh, they believe, and the Reisha, even Machmas Momon, they believe. Why? Also, even though the star is not established, when they say they're Rishoyim, why they believe? So not believe Mitzad Eidus, they believe Mitzad HaPeshosa. So what's the Shitei Shomas Kasha? Shitei Shomas Kasha was They're not believing mitzad eidus. So Rashi answered it. You're right, they're not believing mitzad eidus, but they believe it's a peshosa. Yes, what do you ask?
Kasha was why the Gemara asked this kasha.
Great, but there's not a kasha. According to Rashi, you have an answer.
But later on, when you get to Rava, it is a kasha. So why now is it not a kasha?
No. Because if he is on a seifa, which is no eidus, seifa the shtar is a mekuyam. So there's no eidus. So the Gemara says shtar mekuyam, there's no eidus. But you want to say on a reisha when the shtar is not mekuyam. You want to jump on that the eidus is complete. And then you have a kasha with no eidus. Why do I believe? They're not believing it's an eidus. Even if you're going to hold it's a complete eidus and there's no eidus anymore, they believe it's on a peshosa.
No, for some reason, when you get to the next explanation of the Gemara, if you look at Rashi, he doesn't say Pesha also, he says something else.
Where?
To explain it.
Where?
Rashi, keep it shake.
Where?
Keep shake. Keep shake.
Yeah, that's what Rashi says. What does he say? Something else?
He says, Kulu Chada Gadi.
Right.
He doesn't say Pesha also.
No, it's asking in the Sefer Anusim Machmas Nefosho is what I believe came into his God Umagid Gabeirus Kanagolexi. Okay, the Chasim Lashtar is finished. I got to do Eichim Amne to make a Roy Vexav Yom Zomachid. Bishle Mereish Kshav Yom Machid Vala Samchinen Kol Kanagol, which means that God continues. So it seems to be that Rov understood that the Reish and that God continues. So Rashi says when Rove asked Kemechi is Agoda continues in the Reisha, but the Shita Shon is asking that we see from the Gemara in Gittin that Agoda is not continuing, and therefore he has a kasha on the Reisha. What?
Whenever the Zach is Kulu Chada Gadi, it seems to me the Toys is stronger than the Gemara.
How's it two? How's it two Agada?
When Rashi says that the Reish is a Chana Agoda, we'll have to come on to that. Reish is sort of Chana Agoda, but if they say Anusi Machmas, which Anusi are we talking about? Anusi Machmas Nefosho is the Sefer that I believe by Mom and by Nefosho I believe, and Reish I believe also Machmas Mom and also by Nefosho. She's saying Machmas Nefosho and Reish I believe because the Agoda continues. But in the Sefer, Machmas is the I believe doesn't make sense. The Agoda is finished. That's what Rashi is saying. But really, in the Reish when I have no Eidus because they made themselves Reshoim, so then Rashi would say there, like he says before, the Reisha Peshosa. When Rashi says in the Kasha of Rov, you guys follow me? That's what you may. Rashi saying two things. When Rashi says Rov's Kasha was why Anusi Machmas Nefoshes in the Sefer I believe is a Peshos Veshiti. It's Kemet Shigid. So Rashi says, but in the Reisha, which Reisha? Avanusi Machmas Mosa, Moment Nefoshes. It's a Nefoshes. There's Nefoshes in the Reisha they believe Ben Moment Ben Nefoshes. And Nefoshes why they believed why there is no problem of Kevin Shigid. The answer is the Agoda was never finished. In Ochanami Machmas Momo and there's no Agoda, so it's a Peshosa. But in Nefoshes you have both, a Peshosa and Eidus. Where's the Eidus? He says the Eidus continues. But the Shita Yishon is asking on what? He's asking on Anusi Machmas Momo and Nefoshes. But on which case? On the Reisha. Yes, let's see again. He says, which demoni? To say Anusim of Momo and Achrit and Nefoshes. Which demoni we talk about? See if it's not the Nefoshes, so the Eidus continues. He has a good kasha. Why the Eidus continue? Why the Eidus continues is Yav Resh Lakish, Naisa Kimishanecho, and Gemara in Gittin we said the Midorai say Imi the Rabbon is only a worry of, and that's what making me Guna. But the Etzem is really finished. So even Machmas Nefoshes should be finished. But then Ochani Machas Moon be a Peshosa. So let's see. That's when we learn to explain the Shita like this. Let's see the Shita when he answers. Shloima came on the Rabbonon Mia Mishumiguno. Sorry, came on the Rabbonon Mia Yitzruch. Since the rabbis required kiyum, Eshtakach ben Ksaviyodom Yotzemokem Acher comes out in the Reisha when the handwriting is not coming somewhere else, which means not established the Reisha. Tilo Masa Deinu Aksavin, if they don't give a testimony, there's a handwriting. Lo Mafkin Mamoni Rapum, we don't take any money upon this star. Apum da Ishtor. Asha the Kamasa the Aksaviona, now that they give a testimony, these are handwriting. V'amri Anusim, we were forced. Ainu de mehem de mishu peshosa. They believe the peshosa. The dafka toch in the dibuk berishis. What does it mean? They believe in the peshosa. They believe in mitzad eidus, or they believe mitzad peshosa. What was the kasha? What was the answer? The kasha was eitan. And the Reisha, why Robin and Abraham and the Reisha says that they believe, why they believe it's Kevin Shigin, because every stars can come in Doraisa, and even the Rabbana is only a worry, and Mishum will make them, between Betzim and the Eidus is finished, there's no Eidus. So the answer is, the star is 0 in the Rabbana. And therefore, with a star that is not Mekuyam, you cannot collect even without it speaking. The Eidim didn't speak at all. And the rabbis required Q. And there's no established. If they don't give an Eidus and they ain't right, he can collect with it. So therefore, now that they do give a testimony, so you don't say that testimony is finished, because once the rabbi said it's nothing, cannot collect, means the Rabbanon is 0. Not like we know from the Rabbanon is something, just a worry in Mishum Gunei Kelu. No, the Rabbanon is 0. The fact is because you see, you don't collect with it. If there's no Eidus, there's no Kiyum. So since the Rabbanon is 0, so the Rabbanon, now they saying everything. Now they say, so that it means the Eidus continues. So since the Rabbanon, the Eidus continues, the Eidus are continue, and who believe also mitzad Eidus and not so mitzad Peshosa. And by Nusim Machmas Momoin, will be no Eidus, but will be still a Peshosa. What do you want to say?
About the case with the Rishon or the non-Rishon?
Either way, he's talking about even not the Rishonim.
How do you say it continues?
If you're Rishonim, they can, right? If the Rishonim, the Eidus doesn't continue. If they're Rishonim, the Eidus doesn't continue.
He's not talking about that.
He's talking about the Eid Machmas Nefoshes. Machmas Nefoshes, the Eidus continues, and you also have a Peshosa. Machmas Moment is no Eidus, but there's a Peshosa at least. So he says, he concludes the Shita. He says, he wants to say that was the Kash and Teretz HaToises. Let's read again Toises inside, according to the Shita. We're talking about which Anusim. Simcha, come on, get inside. I think he left. Who was this guy that said here before? Mendy? Who was Mendy? Mendy. Come sit close. If he comes. Good. So I'm going to read Tosfot according to Shita Yashon, because the Shita Kubetzes, which is Betzalel Luria, he was the uncle of the Arizal, and he taught the Arizal. Betzalel Luria Ashkenazi, he was the uncle of the Arizal, but he was a big Talmid Chacham for the Shita Kubetzes. So he says that's Pshat Tosis. Let's reread the Tosis inside according to the Shita how he learns the Tosis. Arelu Ne'emon, he goes on the Reisha. That the Eidim that says Ksav Yadein Anusim, they believe. You tell me Lama Ne'emoni. There's a problem why they believe. For Migo Mokam Eidim with Anan Tzad Shal Anusim. He's asking why do I believe? What about the Eidus? If it's Anusim Machmas Nefoshes, there's Eidus. So why do I believe it's an Eidus? It's Trei V'Trei. Elama, you want to say I destroyed the Trei V'Trei, the equation, because of Migu. It's a Migu Mokamedi, and Ansar Shal Anusim. No, it's Shul Eidus. Don't look out on the Trei V'Trei, even though you have a Migu. This is the way we're going to learn it. So really it's hidden here, although Tosis focus on the Migu, and the Migu against Anan Saadeh, but really the Kash is on Trei V'Trei. Lama Ne'emoni, when they say Anusim Ainu Machmas Nefoshes, it's Trei V'Trei.
What for? What's the
Elamai have a Migu, it's a Migu against the Eidim. Where do we have Eidim doing Ananusim? He brings it higher as Ananusim. And the Gemara come on and call the Gemara says that the Eidah Ashtanken are including Eidim Shal Ananusim. And it's included in that the Gemara in Gittin that when I have a star, Emil Midoraisa Emi Rabon is a good star. It's only and that's why Mishum Migil Kum Rabbanon. So he made us have a tray. In order to ask a kasha, Elam Ne'emonim, you have to add in toises. Elam Ne'emonim, it's tray v'tray. Elam you want to add, you have a migu from Migu Mokamedu, and Antzad Shlo Yanusi. You want to add to the second Eidim in migu against the first Eidim, which are not really Eidim because they only said that it was alone. Where the first Eidim said that there's no Anusim to make a Trei V'Trei. She says, no, we see later on. The only come on with Trei V'Trei, the Gemara says in Nafitet, that when you have witnesses that signed and died, and we kind of start, that it was alone, then another Eidim says, the Anusim is Trei V'Trei, the Gemara says, they not believe the rip is Trei V'Trei. Why is Trei V'Trei? Eidim from the shuk, from the market. Why is Trei V'Trei? The first Eidim that signed the star only said it was alone. That's all they said. Where they said it were not Anusim. Where they said they're not minor. But he's included as Anan Sadik, one calls it Trei V'Trei. It's part of the Eidim when they said it was alone. They said it was a kosher alone. And everything was there, the proper way. So therefore, it's part of Anan Sadik in the Eidim. So he made us Trei V'Trei also here. Here, although you have a Peshosa by Anusim Achmas Nefoshois, you have Eidus and a Peshosa. She says the Eidus is Trei V'Trei. And a Peshosa is also it's a Peshosa against Eidus. Where? Because it's part of the Eidus of the Shtar that is not Anusim, it's Anan Tzadeh. Simele is asking why I believe it's at Eidus to rip the Shtar. He's learning that you rip the Shtar. It's at Eidus. Same way in page 19. When the star is not mekuyum, they believe nemonim to rip the star. And it's same when the star is mekuyum and eating nashuk. And not believe. The Gemara says not believe to rip, but they believe to make trei v'trei. So the believe and not believe of the Brais and Nafitet is what? Is about ripping the star. Because the Gemara says even on the statement they're not believed to rip, but they believe to make trei v'trei. And where's the Trei V'Trei? Where's the first Trei? And on Tzadeh Shel Ananusim. That's a side point. But what do we see from the Gemara 19 that the Nemonim, not Nemonim, is reference to ripping the shtar. So also here now Mishnah, Reish Nemonim to rip the shtar. But Lama Nemonim not believe the shtar. Mitzad Eidus is Trei V'Trei. As we see in Gittin a few ten that the Eidus is Trei. And Avayayav and Migua Peshosa to add. It doesn't help because it's against Eidim. It's Trei with a Migu against Trei too. So therefore it doesn't add, the Migu doesn't add anything. What?
Why should the Migu add something?
Why the Migu should not add anything?
Yeah, it's like two
against two. So what happens if you have 4 Eidim against 2 Eidim? Does it make a change?
No,
because Eidus is absolute truth. So adding Migu was there. They're slow to say, I'm adding another type. Eidus is one thing, but now I bring Migu, which is another type. So maybe we'll make a change. That's what Kirei again. But the simplicity, this doesn't make no change. If you have an absolute truth against absolute truth, if you had 2 Eidim, 4 Eidim, 1,000 Eidim against 2 is all the same. It's absolute against absolute. So if you bring even higher, it doesn't change it. Right? That's a simple. Unless you say Azoma. If you don't have Azoma, it's equal. So he made his kash. According to Shnim Kobet says the kash is in Toimar Velama Ne'emoni. Why do they believe? Which belief? Why they believe by Abanusim Machmas Nefoshes to rip the star, or Anusim Machmas Momoin with a Migu to rip the star?
It's the Bashar. It's Bashar.
I'm shoving the Mashon the Shita.
Right, but Bashar
if the Shita says,
the Shita doesn't mention to rip up the star. Only in the Torah says.
Yes, the Farash Atoishas Baruch. In what way? It says you can explain to us such a way.
But the
Shita Gobet's subject is.
I tell you what the Shita said, believe it or not. It's not clear enough to me what he said.
His kasha was that the Eidim that signed the star, it's Eidus complete. You merely of course all Magid. I was the kasha. You know the guy from the Gittin of Gimel.
Is he asking about the first view, or is he asking on the second view?
He's asking on the first review, according to Rova that asked the kasha. He's asking on Rova's kasha, which means I call the second view, Pasha's second view. Because of Rova, we changed Roma Choma. He's asking a kasha, why Rova has a problem on the first Roma Choma, only on the Sefer, and a problem on the Reisha.
He should have a problem on himself.
What?
If he should have a problem in his own view, he should ask right away.
Right? Why are you asking only Rova has a problem on the Sefer Roma Choma? She had a problem with the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Ne'emoni, what I believe is came in Shigi. She have asked right away this kasha. Right? That was a kasha. He's asking on the Reisha, on which Reisha? Anusi machmas momoy and anusi machmas nefoshes.
No, well, in his.
So I'm saying if it's nefoshes, that's how we speak. One nefoshes makes easier than it's the edus. He has a problem. Where's the edus? The edus is finished. And the answer is no, the edus is not finished.
Can you answer the question by saying you have a migul, and sure you don't have edus, but you have a migul? So you want to say that ends up being a migul of edus?
Yes, that's it.
That takes kasha. So let that be takes kasha.
That's what I said. Sure, that's what we said. That's what we said. That takes us kasha.
Then it doesn't produce the result like the Mashah.
No, it does.
Why?
It does, because that's the kasha. The kasha is.
So
One second. If you have an anusi machmas nefoshes on the reisha, are you asking that the edus is finished and you have a problem with Kevin Shigis because of Umagi, so we have a problem with no edus behind the reisha. Elam I have a peshosa, it's amigo against Eidim. That's anusi machmas nefoshes on the reisha. Right? If I read Lama Ne'emoni B'amigo Mokameinu Nantzadeh, if it goes on anusi machmas nefoshes, it's great. Right? Which anusim? Anusim of nefoshes or momoim? So say if I'm talking about machmas nefoshes, so then you have eidus and migu. Says lama ne'emonim. Mitzad eidus is trei v'trei, so I don't believe to rip the shtar. And mitzad migu is a migu against eidim. And if it's anusim machmas momoim, I don't have eidus, I only have migu. So it's migu against eidim. But it's built in the Tosis and the Strini that the monim of the Mishnah is ripping the shtar. Anusi machmas nefoshes. What's the monim? You rip the shtar.
See, the message doesn't say anything about ripping the shtar.
He's saying.
Doesn't say one word about it. Also, he doesn't say one word about it being edus. He says it's a.
He does. He says va'asha de kamasede. Aksav yodom va'amranusi veinu me'emne.
I can't find the place.
4 lines before the end of the third paragraph. Va'ashta. Before the Rosh. Va'ashta. Now. Va'ashta the kamasa the aksav yodom masede. Just a person. Yeah, but masede. They are testifying aksav yodom va'amranusi veinu me'emne.
That's another thing because
he says Masede and says no Peshosa. So they really say Eidus.
you don't get a speed.
And you have a Peshosa with an Eidus. Plus you have a Peshosa. Masede, they're giving you a testimony.
No, but he doesn't say anyhow that he tear up the document.
That's what it means. If it is Eidus, you tear the document.
No, later on when he gets a place of rush, he makes it clear that he tears up the document. In fact, if you want it right.
Okay. So I'm saying it depends. If it goes on Anusi Machmas Nefoshes, I have Eidus. So then you rip the shtar. Is Anusi Machmas Nefoshes, Machmas Momoy. So then, sorry, Anusi Machmas Nefoshes, they have Eidus. What?
Wait, exactly. Where's the kasha? The kasha was Kim Shek Shumin Chayzimah.
Right.
You can't have Eidus.
That's and the answer is you do have Eidus because the shtar is 0.
Yeah, but he doesn't mention the fact that you have Eidus.
That was the kasha. The kasha was where's the Eidus coming Shigin. Since the shtar is 0, so therefore now they believe him.
Yeah, but he
must be saying kasha was no Eidus and there is Eidus. That's a back of all.
He says kasha also.
No, but he says Asha the Kamasa the Aksav Yodom. Since before they made 0, came in the Rabbanon Mia Itzuch comes out without the Eidus, Tilo Masanei. No Mafkina means like the star is not Eidus. So now that he says a Peshosa, you have Eidus. Eidus was a Peshosa.
He doesn't say you have Eidus.
That was the whole kasha. There's no Eidus, the answer is there is.
But no, the Teretz is Peshosa. Why do you have to go into Eidus? The Teretz is Peshosa.
So just say a Peshosa.
Huh? Teretz is Peshosa.
But it doesn't say that. Well, yeah, but what? Yes, but why do you have to come on to say that the star is nothing? You cannot collect without kiyum. You can collect with a star. What has to come on? What has to say the first three lines? Just say Yeshloima a Peshosa. No, it is a Peshosa. You have to come on to that. Must be the cash on the table is no eidos, and there is eidos, and you have a Peshosa mitzvah tochenidim of eidos. This is what I learned in Thursday, and you also then in the Shukoli attacked me and said, "Where that my goal was that since the kasha was there's no eidos, the Yeshloim since without a kiyumas, not eidos, it's not eidos." He say. So now they say there's eidos because what? That's a simplicity, and therefore a peshosa here, or it's plus a peshosa, or tochenidimu means that the eidos because the rule is I cannot give eidos even though the eidos continues. But I cannot, now that I'm giving Eidus, I cannot talk a second statement after talking Edibu. Because there's no Eidus now. Because if that's we talking Edibu, it's not the Peshosa, it's not the power of Eidus. But it really has the power of Eidus too. Maybe also Peshosa, they have the power of Eidus. More than enough Kamina. Anusi Machamas Nefosho, Machamas Mamoin, and there's no Eidus, because I make myself a Shoyim. Right? Stars are mekuyam. I said, so it makes a Reshoim. So therefore what?
When you make yourself a shot, now backwards.
So from now on there's no Eidus. No, they're talking about Reshoim then on the Maise.
Yeah, but you can't believe that because the fact that
they're saying the Eidus now and then. And they said the Reshoim then.
How can you believe it now? You say they did tshuva.
Obviously.
The only way you can say that.
Yes. But the tshuva, obviously, otherwise you cannot speak. If they're eating, if they're Eidus.
No, but then you can't believe anything that comes out of their mouths. They said we signed, right? And they say we're Rishayim. It's hard to say now we can trust them. Maybe now
yes, a very good question. And that was the first one, the second one, how do we explain the second one? Why when they say in the Reisha, Anusi Machamas Momen is out? Now when we spoke last week with Kivega, why it's out? He said, since they say Reshoim, so I don't believe that they did such an action of signing, and I throw everything out. That was all the Kivega we explained last week. That was the second Omar. The first Omar holds that an Reisha, not on Anusi Machamas Nefoshois, also Anusi Machamas Momen, I believe. Maybe not Mitzadeh, it's not Peshosa. Problem is, if you can learn this, there is Eidus, and what they said then that we were Reshoim, so I should throw everything out. To the level, the second Omar holds, there's not even a Peshosa. So I don't believe they did such an act. What is a Peshosa? It means my handwriting, and we are losing because I couldn't keep quiet. What is it? I don't even hear you did a mices like that. That was a Kivega, I throw it out. Second Omar says, what was the second Omar says? That an Reisha Anusi Machmas Nefoshes. But it's a moment I don't believe. What a Peshosa? Somehow the second Omar throws out a Peshosa. We talk about on the first Omar that learns that the Reisha they believe Anusi Machmas Nefoshes Father Mitzadeinus, and even Anusi Machmas moment they believe Mitzad Peshosa. So that Tosi Shonim said that Avamina Wakash was an Avamina. Why they believe there's no Eidus? But Anusi Machmas Nefoshes, no Eidus. Kemen Shiki. The answer is the Shtang is zero, and they believe, and the Eidus continues. It has a power of Eidus on the nation. Right? Remember, we said you have to think about it. You had a whole week to think about this. You got to like, boy, man, it's finished. Everything's finished now. To get back into it. Again, according to the Shita Yashona, he doesn't say clearly what he's talking about, which Anusi. Pasha, he's talking about an Akasha of Rova and the first one. So he has a Akasha. Why Rova is asking? And Ron Barchoma and the Sefer and Anusi Machmas Nefoshois that the is given Shigin, let Rove ask the content first of Marchom and Nereisha, but Anusi Machmas Nefoshois, why do I believe is also given Shigin? The answer is, like the Gemara in Gittin says, that is a good start. And the Eidus is finished. The answer is no. Once the rabbi is required, Kiyum is 0. He cannot collect with it. So therefore the Eidus continues. And now when it says our handwriting, we're Anusim, Nefoshois, they have a power of Eidus. And if they will say Anusim Machmas Nefoshois, so be no Eidus, but will be still a Peshosa. That's a side point. So comes the Shita, and the Shitim comments says, that's Pshat and Toisvis. Then when Toisvis said, according to what we just learned now, that the Reish is Eidus, and the Eidus continues by Nusim Machmas Nefoshois. And that's why Rova did not ask on the Reisha. Rova only asked on the Sefer, why they believe when the star is already Mekuyam, it's given Shigin. But on the Reisha, when the stars are Mekuyam, you cannot collect with the star. So the Eidus, it doesn't stop. The Eidus continues. You made it to believe Mitzad Eidus. That's why Rova didn't ask on the Reisha. Comes the Shitin, and he says, that's Pshat. The Shita Yeshon is Pshat and Toisus. And Toisus Kasha was, why they believe in the Reisha? Right? How the Shita learned if it's Eidus? You rip the star, or you just don't collect?
This?
Yes.
I don't know, my shah said.
They rip. Because the Shita was, why Anusim Machmas Nefoshes and the Reisha? They believe Mitzad Eidus, Eidus is finished. This is the Eidus continues. If it's Eidus, you rip the star, or you just don't collect? Guys, answer me.
Tray. What do you mean?
It's not why tray. Again, the whole kasha was tray by tray, but the answer star is 0. So there's no tray first tray. There's only now. I'm continuing to talk. So there's no tray by tray. There's only tray now. So you rip the star. You have Eidus. You rip the star.
I say that there's a hefer to say that it's Eidus. Maybe say that he's only saying.
But is he saying it's Eidus?
No.
That was all kasha. There's no Eidus. Yes.
One is Kim. Now this could be diminished. The Eidus, the original Eidus, could be diminished if you say, because of Rabbanon, need Kiyum, so then you diminish that and it's not called Eidus.
Right.
Next, then after that, then you have a choice. If you want, you can say, okay, then the second thing is Eidus. That's one possibility. That's what the Rashida said. But maybe you could say, not that it's Eidus, but it's only Migui. It's Migui. But now you have Migui.
So why do we have to destroy the star in order to say that? That was my problem.
That's Kasha. That's Kasha. You can fucking make this. Because it's that Kasha. That's what he's saying. The entire Tais is like that.
Okay. So if you destroy that, there's no Eidus, so now it's Eidus. What do you want to say? That Toys is destroyed, that the Yeshloima is that we destroy that the Ksav Yodom is not Eidus, it's not finished Eidus. I don't collect with it. But really now that the Choyzer Umag is not really the power of Eidus, it's a power of a Peshosa. It's something in between. It's possible, but it's not simple. The simple is Kevin Shigi, you can't speak anymore, the Eidus. It's like good. Because the Rabbana I cannot collect unless you say no. We really hold the premise of the question, and we see the Gemara in Gittin that you have Nechker on the star, and therefore the Eidus it's finished. But he says still, you know why they believe? Because since without they talking, I cannot collect with a star. So now when they say so they have a Peshosa, and therefore they believe not to collect with a star. And according to the verse, I don't rip the star. I don't have Eidus like he agreed. The Eidus is finished. But I'm here, I'm not talking mitzad Eidus, and the Reish I'm talking mitzad a Peshosa, because without me speaking, you cannot collect. Now that I speak and I have a Peshosa, so therefore, you don't collect again. In Mele, the Pshat of the Shita Yeshona will be that I believe it's on a Peshosa, it's on Eidus. And I'll believe not to rip. I believe I'm not believed as Eidus to Kevich to rip. I'm just believing it's on a Peshosa that I could have kept quiet and you won't collect with it. Because Shtar is not Mekum, you don't collect. That's what he starts. We don't take up money. And now they said to him writing, Anusim, you don't take out the money. So he started by asking a kasha that the reishes the monus means edus and you rip the shtar. And it says no, it's not edus. Like the Gemara in Giti, he agrees to the kasha that the edus is finished. And the reason why I believe is not mitzad edus, I believe it's on the peshosa. Because without my talking, the shtar cannot collect. Now that I'm talking in a 6-7 your day now, also said a peshosa that is nothing. Shemela stays nothing, you don't collect. That would be actually a better way to read the Shita Yashana. That the kasha of Toises, and he says Upshot in Toises. So it wouldn't be like the Marashal, if you learn like this. We learn Toises kasha was Velana Moni, why they believe Mitzadeinus for Amigo Mokamedimu, which means the Eidus of the star is finished, and therefore there's Anan Sa'adeh Shalai Anusim. So it's Amigo against Eidus. Now I'm Eidus? No, the Eidus is finished. It's included. Which means the Eidus Arishoin is finished. So now it's Amigo against Eidus. The answer is, you're right, it's Amigo against Eidus. But without the talking, the Eidim were not able to collect. So now they have a migo, they have a peshosa, to put in the same status that as if they didn't speak. Kasha was that the Eidus of Shtar is a complete Eidus. You may like create an Ansade from the first Eidus, and therefore it's a migo against the Eidim. And the Eidus is finished. Because only Mishuma, you see Mishuma good and Kol Rabbanon, so the Eidus of the Shtar is finished. And if the Eidus of the Shtar is finished, you have also an Ansar Shal Anusim. And so now you don't have any Eidus, you have Vigo against Eidim. The answer is, no, without us speaking, the Eidus is not finished. Because you don't collect with it. So you can't say Anan Sa'adeh built of Anan Anusim. It's not a complete Eidus. You don't collect. So it's also not Anan Sa'adeh of Anusim. What do you have? Only you have a peshosa. So you don't have a complete Eidus. You have a peshosa, but you don't rip and you don't collect. You put it on the same level before we speak. So the Shita Yashon is against the Marshal. Let's see now the Shita Rosh according to this. Guys, get up. Wake up. Look, come on. I'm now reading the Tesarosh. The second paragraph. You see the last paragraph there? Which papers you have? Here it is in your papers. Here. Umi wa Rosh. See Umi wa Rosh? Umi wa Rosh. Where's your papers, Yaakov? Umi wa Rosh. Beto Isfoisol. Lo ipireshke. וזה לשאלה. אם תוימה. איך אם הם באמיגו היי בליב נצמיגו. האמיגו מקום אידימו. כיוון שמוידי שכסו על הצד של רפסול האידוס. It's a migo against the Eidim because they admit that they wrote it. So when they say Ksavadinu, boom, you ever saw them make a movie? Cut. They say Ksavadinu, you cut. Kevan Moidim because they admit they wrote it. Finish, you cut it. Anan Sadis Upsulenus, and now you have Anan Sadis and Anusim Upsulenus. This Chazok is like Eidim. When the Shtar is Mekuyom, the Gemara says the second Eidim says Anusim is against two Eidim that says of the Shtar and Anusim. Where the first Eidim said an Anusim, it's included of the Chazok. The Max of Yomokamach, Choshim Ke'edim, Eidim Shem Ke'edim. So say in the Reisha, since the Shtar is in Midoraish is okay, so it's Anan Sad and Anusim, it's Migo against Eidim. Yes, Shloima. The answer is the Lochin Emoni. You know why they believe? Vishen Baim Betaina Liboyamu Mezuyov. They have a migo, not migo that could have kept quiet. They have a migo that could have been Mezuyov, active. Behind migo Emoni Mokamedim, migo Mezuyov, they believe him against Eidim. Why? The rabbis strengthening the claim of Mezuyov against the Shtar. Any man can say Shtar is Mezuyov, even a loive, not necessarily Eidim. You're right, the Shtar is Nechkeron, but any man can say Mezuyov. So although Nechkeron Midorais is a complete Eidus, but the rabbis give the power even in a complete Shtar, as long as not Mamish established, even though it's Nechkeron. But it's not Mekuyov, the rabbis give the power to say Mezuyov. So once you have the power to say Mezuyov, you have a Migo against the Shtar. So really, what according to him, I believe it's an Eidus now. And then I believe it's a Migo that could have kept quiet. No, they believe Migo that could have said Mezuyov. And therefore, you rip the Shtar. That means an Eidus, and that means a Migo de Baishosi. You have the Migo, an active Migo that could have said Mezuyov. That's Pshat, the Marashon.
I thought he said the favors.
Velekamon.
Rip the Shtar, but he doesn't say.
Velekamon. Almul, okay. Neemoni. ולקמון כיוון שהוא מקוים שכסב יונן זה במאחר. Later on in Davites says when it's מקוים שכסב יונן במאחר לקטן is מזויוב, because it's already established. אבל לא יכול לחושים קיום אשר כסב ידינו. He is not considered קיום when we say כסב ידינו. דין גופי אמרי קטנים. קטנים זולנו זה להווה מיגו ומזויוב. The problem was we saw that Mezuyov you don't rip the Shtar. You wait. Now what problem we started this year? What?
That's actually, I thought that the 280.
The first Shita Yeshon on the Migu is what? They could have kept it without Kiyum. Without Kiyum I don't collect. So now that I said it's our handwriting, Anusim, you also don't collect. Second Pshat is not a Migu by Shos, it's a Migu active. Could have said Mezuyov from Parua. So if you say Mezuyov from Parua, you don't collect or you rip the Shtar. What? You don't collect. The Mashal learns that if you say Migu de Parua, I do rip the Shtar.
No, but if two witnesses show up and say it's Mizuya, then
let's see the Mashal for a second.
you won't rip up the Shtar.
No, if two Eidim say so.
280, that's what we're talking
Yeah, but it's not Eidus, he's a Peshavasa.
No, but it's a
Migu of two Eidim.
to have a Migu.
You have two
If they
Eidim,
would have done this, they could have teared up the Shtar.
two Eidim that from the Torah the Eidus is finished, but from the rabbis the Eidus continues. That's what it means. And therefore now they have a power of a Migu, they have a power of Eidus. What is it?
They have a power of before they have the power of Migu, they have the power of belief against the thing itself. To overcome the Eidos of the Zaktikum. Because if they would have said Meduyim, they overcome that. If it's not Mekuyim, they overcome it. If two
it's a move on. The Kamon had a Rabbi Pori, or the command and the money on the Sanachoino. My Vatre Vetrino, Voka Kushto, the money made the Sachoino. There they are not believers Tre Vetre. Here they believe me in the Eidus. But say don't know the money made the Sachoino, I will actions. Why did I believe zero? Takes the Talmud of Mainamon Tre Vetrino. Can the Voka Kamon Irish? I will recruit with Tatzos of it. Be a slow and different, walk of your Mascona.
you have a Shtar, but not Mekuyim.
That's a kasha. What says kasha? Lama ne'emonim. Here, actually, you believe them. There's trei v'trei, so there at least to be a suffix. But here they believe to rip the Shtar. יש להם דבריהם לכל לפי המסכונת. לכמה תראינו וגם על חסד שמורת. מה יקום האוכל נאמונים ניצול השטר לגמרי, וקרינן לי מצד אידוס, נאם את רבי תראינו. ולא מראים לו בקרינן. So he learns in the Marashua as much as Eidus. It's not the Shiti Yeshana and not the Teisarosh. It's Mamish Eidus. The Marashua is Eidus, and the Shiti Yeshana, the first Shiti Yeshana learned that the Kasha was Anusi Machamas Nefoshes is Eidus. Eidus continues. And the answer is, although the Eidus doesn't continue, because it's finished. Kasha was the Eidus is finished. The answer is, you're right, it's finished, but it's still a Pesha Osa. And the second answer learns that the peshosa is a peshosa of not the baishasik, peshosa kunas a mezuyov. So they go according to both mezuyov or peshosa. You don't rip because if you mezuyov, you don't rip.
Two agents, you have a star not mekuyim. Two witnesses come in and say mezuyim. What happens to the star?
If it's edus, you rip the star. But if it's not edus, just a peshosa.
No. Oh, but
There's a kevin shigid here.
Migi has a,
They don't have edus. There's only
but
migo.
Migi has a koyach as if they had that taina. So if they would have that taina, you would tear up the star. So they have Migi.
Why? Why you have to tear the star? Baldovo that says mezuyov, you don't tear the star. You don't collect. Two witnesses that don't have the power of two witnesses because the edus is kevin shigid. Because they have the power to retract from the edus mitzad peshosa and destroy the edus arishoino.
But Dovri doesn't have the monus. He's not Adus, he's not even the monus. He's just a taina. So then the taina, you have to be the taina.
Okay.
These have the monus. That means the forged document. Two witnesses come and say this is forged. It's forged.
I think that's the Ochakir of the Birkas Shmuel. The Ochakir of the Birkas Shmuel is the base Meir, base Yaakov, is in order to retract from my first edus. I need a power of edus to destroy my first edus, or I can have a peshosa to destroy my edus. So although mezuyov, stam if the loive says mezuyov, you don't rip. You just wait till it's mekayim. I don't collect. So the Frishita Shono says, without me speaking, I don't collect. So now when I have peshosa, I don't collect. But the host seems to be more. I could have said mezuyov. Now, if the loiva says mezuyov, you don't collect, but you wait, because maybe mekayim. But if two eidim, which are not eidim, because Kevin Shigin are not eidim, but they have a power peshosa, which peshosa that says mezuyov, not shaske. So there, I can retract from the edus, and therefore the shtar turns to zero. The shtar is turned to zero because I don't need edus to do chazor of my edus. That's all Birkas Shmuel. So the Birkas Shmuel, I have to go.
Completely different thing.
You rip the star. Okay. Just start. Have to go. Hamal, we don't have much time, but just start. So prepare the Beismei well, and prepare the Birkas Shmuel.
It didn't seem to be recorded.
Yeah, it's recording. What happened?
Mm.